Hi, everyone. We are live with Melissa Houston. I'm very excited for tonight's show because, hi, say hi. We don't talk about finances nearly enough. So I was telling Melissa, I do print on demand. So with Merch Money and all of that, we talk about all different kinds of print on demand and Kindle and all these different things. But what we don't mention enough is business finances. And all of us deal with that. All of us are entrepreneurs. All of us run our own businesses. So that's something that we need to make sure we know. So thank you so much for being here. It's very needed.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. And I was also telling in the group that I met you through Heather Parody. And so thank you to Heather.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. Guys, go follow Heather if you're not already. And make sure you follow Melissa. And actually make sure you follow me too, because I know most of you guys are following me, but most of you are following me on the Merch Money channel. This is actually a different YouTube channel. So if you're not already following, follow here. So let's just dive in and introduce you, say who you are. You've been a CPA, helping with people with finances for over 20 years. You write for Forbes. You used to be a social worker. I mean, you have so much experience.
Yeah, I definitely have quite the resume. So hello again. My name is Melissa Houston, and I am a chartered professional accountant. And I have 20 years of experience helping entrepreneurs know their business numbers. And quite often people hear CPA and accounting and stuff, and it's like, so boring, and they just want to run and hide because they think like, oh. But, numbers are fun. And as Heather and I used to say when we spoke, budgets are sexy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotta bring the fun back into the numbers.
Yeah, it feels like they're not, but if they're fun if you do it right and you get big numbers and everything's organized. It's kind of like that with routines and things like that. It doesn't sound very exciting to have a schedule and a routine and all this stuff, but it makes life so much easier. You get so much more done. So same with finances. If you can stay organized and know what you're doing, it's just a huge weight off your shoulders.
It's not only a huge weight, but when you've got your finances in order in your business, sorry, my thing just moved. When you've got your finances in order in your business, you are going to make more money because you know your numbers. So if you think money is great to have, then you really should get to know your numbers so that you can make the most money your business can possibly make, and keep that money, the majority of it, in the pocket for yourself, and not have these money leaks that are other people or other businesses are profiting from your money leaks or your lack of control over your money. The objective is really to make sure that you are making money for yourself.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning. So what made you want to become a CPA? How did you get into this line of work?
Well, when I was a teenager, I just had this passion to work with people and help them. I really wanted to be a teacher and a special ed teacher, actually.
Oh, wow.
And so I went to school, my pre-teachers college, because up in Canada, you have to do a degree before you get accepted into teachers college. So I did my degree in social work. And while I was working part-time throughout getting that, I realized that it was very emotionally draining to do this all day. And I was thinking, if I'm going to do this all day and I'm going to get, have a family and have children of my own, how am I possibly going to do this without burning out? So I kind of made the hard decision at that point to branch off and do something else. How I ended up in accounting is beyond me. I think my dad encouraged me because he's like, oh yeah, you can go get your professional designations. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do that. So I ended up doing that, and I have absolutely no regrets. But one thing that I did notice is I was not the type of person that was made to work in a cubicle 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I felt very trapped. I felt also, accountants are also known as being introverts, and we sort of work like by ourselves in the corporate world and stuff. And I really missed the teamwork, and I missed working with people and helping them.
Mm-hmm.
So to make a long story short, is I was like, okay, I've got my social work skills and I've got these great accounting skills and money skills. Like I'm a money expert. How am I going to combine these? And I was like, I need to work with people and show them how to do this. Because quite often what I'd seen is when I was working in the public accounting firms and entrepreneurs were coming in and picking up their taxes, and we were explaining to them, okay, this is how your business did this year, and this is what we suggest that you do to improve your processes and stuff. They were like, there was like that deer in the headlight look. You knew that they didn't know what you were talking about. Mm-hmm. And that frustrated me not because they didn't know, but I'm like, there's such valuable information that they're missing out on. Mm-hmm. And it's so frustrating because the industry doesn't really talk about it, and they don't really teach entrepreneurs how to do their numbers in their business. And it's such an important aspect of it. So I just decided to go for it and open up my business. And that's what I do. I teach entrepreneurs how to make more money by knowing their numbers.
Amazing. So needed. Thank you for doing that. And I love that where you didn't feel like you quite fit into being a CPA because you're not introverted and you want to be around people. I feel like so many people feel like that. Like you feel like you have to fit into a certain box and be a certain way, no matter what industry you're in or what you're doing. And it's just not true. We're all unique, and we can bring our uniqueness to whatever we're doing. So you found a way with starting your own business. There's always a way, but that's a good lesson all by itself to not try to fit into the box. Bring your uniqueness, because you're the perfect person to reach out to entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are usually not as introverted, so they would probably want somebody that could talk with them and explain everything. So.
Yeah, and I really try to explain it in a language that isn't condescending to them. Like I had witnessed so many times being in meetings where accountants were speaking the accounting jargon, and I was thinking always in my head, this is so unfair. This isn't right, because entrepreneurs, for the most part, did not go to school and learn this language, and they don't understand what you're talking about. So how are you providing a really good service for people if you're not meeting them at their level? And one thing I always talk to my clients about is, it is not your fault that you don't know your numbers. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. So I really try to break down that barrier so that it's more accessible and people don't feel the shame, because so often when they come to me, they're like, I'm so smart and I'm so embarrassed that I don't know this. And it's like, no, nobody taught you. So how do you do it if nobody taught you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the shame thing. So I've heard you talk about that before. So a lot of people have either shame around money, or they have a mindset that's not quite right with money. Like they either, think it's bad to have too much money, or they are used to struggle, or whatever it is. So tell us a little bit about that. Like what's been your experience, or how have you grown with your relationship with money over the years?
Mindset is definitely huge. Now, I had my own personal, I was going to say accident, but that's probably an understatement. A little mishap. So a couple of, probably 5 or 6 years ago now, I had noticed, and I'd known this for a while, I just wasn't feeling good about where I was in life. And I didn't quite understand what was going on, because I had a good marriage. My kids were, fine, nothing out of the ordinary. Good relationship with friends and family and stuff. But I just felt like, bleh, I don't even know how to explain it still.
Yeah.
And what I started doing to make myself feel better is I started spending money like crazy. And it started off slow, slowly. I'd, once in a while go on girls' trips, and, I'd spend a couple $1,000s on the weekend. And it was like this rush, because I come home with all this stuff, right? And then I'm like, oh, this feels great. I've got new this and new that and whatever. And I started spending more and more. And then I'm like, it didn't quite cut it with the clothes and the shoes and stuff. I started looking at Pinterest and I'm like, oh, I need to renovate my house. I need to do this. I need to do this. And then, I finally talked my husband into installing a swimming pool in the backyard, which we really didn't need.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I had it in my head. I have to have it. I have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, also I hid $40,000 of debt from him. So at this point, we racked up about I racked up about $100,000 worth of debt. We had credit and I blew through it all. And I kept telling him, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all under control, when it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And he kept saying we got to be running out of money. And no, don't worry about it. Because he always trusted me with the money because I'm the CPA. So I remember standing there when the pool was all filled and the kids were swimming and everybody was happy. And I'm like, I don't feel the way I thought I would feel about getting this great thing. And it was gorgeous. And it is gorgeous. And then everything came crashing down when, the money was mismanaged and we needed more credit. Mm-hmm. And I had to come clean with him. And when I saw the look on his face, and it was like pure disappointment. And I don't think he's ever looked at me like that before. And we've been married for, right now, it's been almost 22 years. So probably at the time it was like 18 years or something. And that's a long time to be with somebody who has never looked at you like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, at that moment, I'm like, okay, that's it. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So obviously I had to repay all the debt, work towards paying off the debt. And, a lot of it too is I felt a lot of shame because I knew better. And even as I knew better, I kept spending. Like, mm-hmm. There was something going on with me that I'm like, oh, I know we can't afford this, but I'm going to still do it. I'm still doing it. It was very risky behavior. So then when, I basically got caught and, had to start paying the debt back and stuff, I decided to go on like this personal journey, mm-hmm. where I really had to dig deep and find out, like, if I knew better, being a CPA, knowing and counseling people on how not to get yourself into debt and what you do to get yourself out of debt and stuff, mm-hmm. like that. How did I do that myself? And I didn't have any answers. Mm-hmm. So I went, soul searching, and, part of me thought it was because I was unhappy because I had gained weight since kids and I wasn't feeling the way I used to and stuff. I was really tired all the time. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I remember thinking also, when I was at work, I'm like, work gets the best of me, where mm-hmm. I come into work, I'm vibrant, I'm happy. And then you put in a day of faking it. And when you get home, you're exhausted, right? Mm-hmm. And, so I just felt like all the good time in my life was spent at a place where I hated. Mm. And, soul searching, still didn't know what was quite going on, but I met this health coach, and I'd never been coached before. Mm-hmm. And she put me through this program. And quite honestly, it took maybe a couple of sessions, and it took, peeling back the layers. And I've always been in therapy and stuff, but I'd never done coaching, where coaching is very like proactive, mm-hmm. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. And, it didn't take me long to realize that the actual root issue was doing the job that I couldn't stand doing. But mm-hmm. I felt like I had to stay in this job because, it's the golden ticket. I worked for the government in Canada, and that is like the prize job. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I felt bad about wanting more. I felt very conflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great, thank you so much for telling your story. It's great when we share our wins and our losses, because that's mm-hmm. how people can relate to you, and they can know, you've been there, what it's like when your finances are not under control and things are not going the right way. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And the reason why I chose to talk about this is because I really want people to know that if they've made a mistake like this, if they've gotten themselves into debt, or if they're, having any sort of trouble, whether it's debt or not debt, your mistakes don't define you.
Yeah.
Even though we know better and we still do wrong, because I know I'm not the only person who's done that, and not the first, I won't be the last. But I just really want people to understand that you don't have to stay stuck in that. You do the work and you get out of it and you move on to something better.
Absolutely. And I love that you did soul searching. So it wasn't like you knew, like, it's not that you need to get a different Excel sheet or something. Like, it wasn't the finances itself. It was like, okay, what is the behavior behind this?
Yeah. And part of me, I guess, is because I'm a trained social worker. So, I knew instinctively, like, there's obviously a brain and emotion connection or disconnect going on here that I need to explore. Because really, I think for the majority of us, our motivation or intention or whatever, we're motivated by our emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, amazing. And it's amazing how it all works together. So you found the health coach, you worked yourself back up, and then what happened from there? You decided to start your own company?
Well, yeah, because she challenged me on that, right? She's like, so why don't you do this? And I'm like, well, I gave my 101 reasons why I wouldn't. And then I'm like, damn it, I'm going to. And then the minute I made that decision, I never looked back. Like, it was like, that's it. I'm doing it, and I was all in, and I never felt better because I was doing something that really, it revitalized me. I felt like when I woke up in the morning, it was like, yes, I'm going to get up, and I'm going to, work on my business and work on my reach and help more people and, just really try to make a difference in people's lives. And I've worked with the most amazing people and the most amazing clients. And I love it.
Amazing. What advice would you give if someone else feels stuck? Like, if they feel the same way, where they just are not feeling happy and things are starting to slide and not go the right way, what would people's first step be to do?
Honestly, after coaching, I would say, invest in a coach. For me, that was the best investment I had ever made. And that was that was my first coach, but it definitely is not my last coach. I've done coaching since. And we all know, as entrepreneurs, like, this is like the most vulnerable job that we can have, because we're constantly putting ourselves out there and we're faced with rejection constantly, and it's very hard not to take that personally, right? Sometimes it's difficult to separate the business from taking things personally and feeling like maybe it's because they don't like you or something, and that's just not the case. Like, most of the time it's timing or just not being a right fit or whatever the issue is, but it's never really a personal thing. And if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling down about that, I mean, the best thing you can do for yourself is, and it's easy for you to say to somebody, oh, just get unstuck. But, if that were that easy, you wouldn't be stuck. So sometimes people are just lacking the tools, or, as one of my coaches says, you can't see the label when you're inside the bottle. Sometimes you just need somebody else to help you and get moving and get going on it.
Absolutely. I love that. I have heard that before. I love that. I can't see the label when you're in the bottle. It's so cute. The other great thing about being an entrepreneur is there's, like, no one to blame except yourself. So it's great, but it's also like, oh, I miss kind of like having other people that it could be their fault. It's like, darn it, it's my fault again. But it's great.
Yeah, and it's like, when you're faulting yourself, it's like you're punishing yourself, though, right? And it's like, that's not a healthy reaction, because we all learn from our mistakes. So it's better to say, hey, I didn't know, now I know, and I'm just going to try differently.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, there's no, like, sometimes we talk about wins and loses and like failures and successes. And I'm like, it's so hard to draw the line of like, what was a failure? What was a success? Because the failures eventually turn into a success. You just kind of like change something, move something around, try a different way.
Like if you didn't meet your targets and you're like, you know, blaming yourself because you didn't meet your targets and you're not looking at what you did gain.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
next quarter you do. So it's like, yeah. So,
yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, so tell us a little bit about your website and your podcast and all the different things that you think would help entrepreneurs out there.
Well, first and foremost, I have a column with Forbes. So
that's amazing.
Yes, I'm very proud of that. And I started writing for Forbes in August of 2020. And I write every Tuesday and Thursday. I have a column there, and I write to entrepreneurs about managing your business and your personal finances. So you can check me out there. I also have my Think Like a CFO podcast, which I'm having so much fun doing. And that airs every week on Mondays. And I talk about managing your business finances. And I also interview a lot of different entrepreneurs, and I talk about their entrepreneurial journey. So it's not just talking about money, right? Because when you think about it, absolutely everything in your business that you do is going to impact your bottom line, whether it's directly or indirectly. You're going to have, you know, you talk about your wins and your losses and stuff like that. You can always monetize those in some way. And so when I talk on my podcast, I talk about absolutely everything in entrepreneurism, because like right from leadership to managing your profit and loss statements to your taxes, whatever, anything that you're touched in business, we talk about. So having different entrepreneurs on the show, I really enjoy as well, because you get different perspectives and you hear different stories of people's struggles. I mean, I really love the struggles, because then it inspires others to keep going, right? Especially when you've got like a super successful entrepreneur. We tend to look at like where they're at now, but we don't really hear about the story of the struggle that it took for them to get there. So I really do enjoy talking about things like that.
Yeah, me too. So fun. I love, this is why I do YouTube, because it's so fun to talk to people like you. People, you know, I have so many different people on the show, and it's like I learn something each time. It's
such a great way to connect, right? Like you're talking to people that you normally never would have had the chance to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And you know, you always find something really interesting. Everybody's got a story. So I love hearing their stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love just how one person leads to another. Like how I've interviewed Heather before, and then she introduced me to you. I love that. We're all connected. We're all like one or two connections away from each other.
Exactly. It's so true.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Are you on Clubhouse too? That's how, like I was talking to Heather on Clubhouse. I think you are, right?
Okay, not really.
Okay.
I haven't.
I'm like, I think I found you and followed you, I think.
Maybe. I'm sorry. I have an account. I think I went in there twice, and I just haven't had the time to figure it out. Yeah. It's like there's so many different platforms.
Yeah.
So are you enjoying being on Clubhouse?
I think you should try it. I'd be happy to go with you after this or whenever. It's really fun because it's kind of like this, where you talk to, like, you can do a YouTube show with somebody, but it's just all audio, so you don't have to worry about like I don't know, I could be able to or whatever. I don't have to worry about my hair or whatever. And it's really neat because, like, on Facebook or other places, like, you just put a comment, like you feel like you know people, but at the same time, it's like just a few comments here and there. But on Clubhouse, you're having a conversation, so it makes you feel like you fast track all these relationships, like you really know them. So, you know, that's how Heather thought of connecting us, because I was talking to her on Clubhouse, and you can invite other people, and you know, whoever you follow, once they go live, then you can see that they're having a conversation, and you can join in. And I don't know, I really, really like it.
I hear great things about it, and I'm like, I really should make the time to do it. So yeah. I definitely should make that time, and I will. I'm going to find time this week to really sit down and figure out how it works.
I could totally go live with you right now after this. Totally up to you. But anyway, I just want to say Patty is loving this. She's saying this is amazing. I'm so grateful
that's so nice. Hi, Patty.
Thanks for sharing. And then she says, I love Clubhouse, but it's a bit distracting to be on a lot of lists, but tremendous resource. Yes, they have. So Patty, you can turn the notifications either off or turn it to low, or I forget the settings, but then it won't distract you so much with all the different notifications. So if you're following a lot of people, it kind of sends you a lot of notifications on your phone.
Okay.
And then there's different things. You only see rooms of people that you're following. So it's completely who you're following of what your experience is going to be like on Clubhouse.
Okay.
So like I follow Heather, so it's really fun. I could talk to Heather and people she knows. I always end up meeting people when it's like somebody that I like. If I join their room, I end up meeting a lot of other people I like. I'm like, oh.
Well, that must be why I can't figure it out, because I don't think I think maybe the second time I went on, I maybe followed a couple of people, because the first time, okay, because I didn't know. The first time I went in, I was like, okay, well, what's here?
Yeah.
So, that's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah, go back in now. It's been another however long, I don't know how long you've been on it, but every day there's tons more people coming on, because it's one of those things, like it's growing exponentially, because you have to wait for everyone to get invited, and it kind of takes a while to build up. And now it's at that point where there's enough people on there that there's a lot of really interesting conversations.
Okay, good.
So, all right, let's see. Patty has a question. Tell us about what you are doing. Do you still offer CPA services or financial counseling services? What are you doing in your business now? Thank you, Patty.
That's Great question. Very good question.
Yes. We'll get back on track.
Yeah. So what I do in my business now is I teach entrepreneurs how to keep their books in order and to take that financial data and turn it into meaningful information. So I teach people how to read their financial reports. So I have a program. It's a 4-step program. And the first step is reading the financial reports, understanding them. The second is to create your budget, which I like to call it more like a business plan, not in the here's my 5-step business plan, but it's more of it's a budget, and you're basically forecasting your revenue for the year, and you're breaking it down into months. And then you break down how much it's going to cost you to make these sales and what's involved in making the sales. So then when you've got it all on paper, you can see how profitable you are, if you're profitable or if you're operating at a loss, because so many times I hear entrepreneurs say that they have no idea, So I'll just run through the 4 steps quickly so I don't get too lost. But the second step is creating the budget. The third step is monitoring your progress after you've created the budget. Every month you monitor your progress against what you had budgeted and planned for, and you see where you're short and where you're over and what's doing well and what isn't. And then the fourth step is to manage your cash. So it's a cash management system in place. So I feel once you have those 4 steps, you've got your basic financial foundation. Mm-hmm. So I offer this in a course, and I offer it like it's a group program, and I offer one-on-one teachings.
Nice.
So I mean, it's been really great for people who've come through the program, entrepreneurs. They're like, and I hear it all the time at the beginning, no, it's going to take me longer. No, I'm never going to get this, but I'm going to try because you're my last resort, or whatever the case is, right? Mm-hmm. And they go through, because I usually do this in 8 weeks. They go through the program and then they're like, oh my God, this is fun. And I hear that a lot. I swear to God. When they say this is fun, and that is rewarding, because it is fun. It's your money,
So I think it's fun because like you can feel proud of yourself, like if you reach the goals that you're setting and everything. Okay, Patty's saying, would your program be helpful from local marketers, e-com, or both? So like e-commerce stores, everybody, right? If it's a business, if you have money coming in and money going out.
Anybody in business, because I have special product accounting templates, and I have service-based businesses. I have everybody. So it's fantastic. It is a great program, and if you're interested, You can get more information on my website at melissahoustoncpa.com.
Perfect. And it should be linked. So whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, her links will be on there.
But questions are always welcomed. I'm not trying to
yeah, I'm so glad that Patty's here. I got to share it again in the other group. I can't imagine everything fun, but I'm open-minded.
Yeah, I can definitely share the info. And you know what? The group of people that I get, like I seem to attract, they are the nicest people. And those are the people that I really enjoy working with. You know, I'm not a stuffy, you know, like very play by the rules kind of accountant. I mean, accounting is about rules. I don't bend the rules or anything, but I'm not stuffy. Like I have a personality. I love to laugh. And I find those are the people that I attract. So when we are doing the group program, you know, it's fun. It's, you know, us talking and exchanging ideas and stuff and working out each other's accounting issues. And it's just, you know, no stress, you know. You may be stressed in the beginning when you start doing this, and by the end, you're like, wow, I've shed that stress and I know what's going on in my business. Because when you know your numbers, that is the best way to understand what is going on in your business. And you will make really good business decisions because you know how your decisions are going to affect your bottom line. So if you're faced with a decision that, you know, may not be profitable immediately, but you know there's going to be a potential profit, you know, like maybe a month later, and it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow, you'll know that. You'll know that it's okay to bring that on for now, and you'll know if you've got the capacity for it, you know, or if it's just not profitable and it's a dud, you'll know that too, and you'll walk away from it. You know, there's just so many things that you can learn from your numbers. You'll know if you're making enough money, like if the revenue's coming in, if you've priced your products and services correctly, or if you've got big money leaks that you didn't realize you had and you can plug them up.
Yeah.
It's just the opportunities are endless on knowing your numbers, like what they're going to show you.
Absolutely. And for those of you doing Shopify and Etsy and things like that, I hear that all the time where you miscalculate the fees of the platform. So Etsy has their own fees, and then there's shipping fees, and then there's the fees from whichever printing fulfillment partner that you're working with. So by the time you get to the end, you're like, wait.
Yeah, and you realize
like a few $100s. I thought I made several thousand. And you know, so it's really important to know your numbers because you can make a few tweaks, raise the price by a few dollars, or get a different fulfillment partner. You know, just a couple tweaks, and all of a sudden now you're back to making what you thought you were making in the beginning.
Exactly. But if you're hiding from the numbers, you never get that feedback.
Patty's saying people should know your 4-step roadmap is free. I don't think you said that. I'm downloading it now.
Yes, it is free. Patty's like a wealth of information here. I love Patty.
Patty. I know. Patty's amazing.
Patty's got our back.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Missy Patty was in our mastermind group, and we've kind of put it on hold. My partner Christina was helping me with Merge Money, and she has breast cancer right now. So
sorry to hear that.
She's battling that, and then we just I've been focusing just on the YouTube channel and the Facebook group, and so Patty, miss you.
How's she doing?
She's doing okay. She's sort of in the toughest part right now. Like she said, the first 6 months are the hardest. So we'll see. But, so she's hanging in there.
Oh, it's got to be the worst time, like during COVID and stuff too.
Yeah.
Patty, my heart goes out to you. Wishing you a speedy recovery.
So Patty was in the mastermind group. So it's not Patty with the.
Oh, sorry, not Patty. Sorry.
I just haven't talked to her as much. So I just wanted to let her know I miss her. But yeah, so thank you for being here, Patty. And yeah, so I think we kind of covered everything. Tell them the story about how you got the column in Forbes, because I was that's amazing. How'd you get that?
Yeah, and it's a funny story because, you know, we live in fear so much. We let fear hold us back, right? And I had taken, I don't know if anybody has heard of Selena Sue and her Impacting Millions program. But I had taken that in March. So, well, it started in April of 2020. And it's basically, the program is teaching you how to get media opportunities so that you can get more eyes on your business. So I was like, this seems like there was something in my gut that said I should really do this, right? So I signed up and everything. And then there was something in my gut that said, you know what? I should really try to apply to, write an article for all the big publishers. So in July, I pitched Entrepreneur and I got my own column, which was really great. And then in August, I had pitched Forbes. I had pitched the senior editor, and he ignored my pitch completely. And I followed up and he ignored me again. And I'm like, okay, so he's not paying attention to me. So what can I do? So I pitched the editor at Forbes Women, and within honestly 3 hours or something, she called me. She's like, okay,
wow,
let's have an interview. So we met the next day. And by the end of the week, I had signed the contract and the whole bit. But the thing is, I thought I was pitching an article just to get an article published, right? Write an article for them, get it published, have my name on it. And she gave me a column.
Wow.
So,
I love that so much. And guys, that's such a lesson for everyone.
Such a lesson.
Just ask. Put yourself out there. And even if the answer is no, like the guy didn't reply to you or whatever it is, find someone who will reply.
Yeah.
And
and for all the pitches that I've done, and believe me, I've been rejected a lot. Not hardcore rejection, just ignored. That's typical. That's what they do. So they just ignore you if they're not interested. And I just didn't let it faze me because I had this feeling in my gut. I just knew that something big was going to happen. And I was right. And I'm so grateful for it. But the other thing too that I've learned, and we were talking about this before we started taping, is oh my God, taping. How old am I?
I keep saying math quest when I say I need directions.
Yeah. My kids would be mortified with me right now. But the thing is, we can't limit ourselves with fear and being so afraid that if we ask the question that we won't get the answer that we want, because really what they're saying is it's maybe not now, maybe it's not a good fit, maybe next month, next year, whatever. But if you really have this feeling in your gut and you know that it's going to happen, it will happen. Yeah. I'm a firm believer of that. And then, so, being the newbie at Forbes at first, I was so nervous and, and then I started meeting different people that I was featuring in the column and stuff. And then in January or over the holidays, I was thinking, I really got to leverage this. So I started talking to people with much larger audiences than I have. And I'm like, okay, I'm featuring you. Would you like to come on my podcast? Mm-hmm. And everybody has said yes so far. It's amazing. Yeah, I love it. And then we were talking about, with you and Heather connected us and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting connected. And I actually got connected to a woman who's gone into business with an Olympic swimmer, just things I never thought would happen. So yeah, it's pretty interesting where my life is going right now.
Amazing. Well, keep it up. I love where you're going and what you're doing. And I think the doors are just going to keep opening. You're going to get more and more just amazed, or maybe not even amazed. Just be like, I know.
No, it's amazing to me. But the thing is that I love so much is that no matter what, I'm meeting people that I can help. And that is the thing that really motivates me. And I mean, as great as it is, and as great as it is to meet somebody who's got a bigger name than me, there's still people and they're really, really nice. And for the most part, people want to help you. You help them, they help you. And that's just sort of the circle. And that's what we do for each other as entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. So never be afraid to help someone because it's going to come back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patty says your website's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I think we can wrap up. I really have enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything else that you want to say? Just anything else about your website, or any last tidbits for people, or ways to follow you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Those are the places where I tend to be most active. I am doing a free training for preparing for taxes on March 2nd.
March
Yeah.
2nd. Okay. And
Yes.
feel free to message that to me, and I can post it in the Merch Money group. So that has 12,000 people. That's more people than this particular channel on right now.
Okay,
and I'll
perfect.
share, once we're done with this YouTube, I'll share it to that group as well.
Yeah.
But
so everybody's welcome. We're going to talk about business and personal taxes, since all of us entrepreneurs are affected by both. And yeah, I keep shaking my thing. Sorry about that.
That's okay. And guys, if you recognize it's a different background, we are finally, we're done painting the house and everything, and we're going to be officially moving out on Friday. So if I sound echoey and discombobulated, it's because I'm in an empty house. So can't believe it. All right. Well, taxes is definitely something everyone could use help with. So I'm so glad you're doing that.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Helen. I'm so appreciative of this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And I love your story, and I love what you're doing for people. And I hope that we keep in touch, and definitely always let me know everything that you're working on, and I'll be happy to share it with everyone.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Same for you. I can share everything too.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, everyone watching.
Thank you, Patty.
And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.